And you have the California Gold Rush as well. With the California Gold Rush, you had a large amount of immigrants from many different countries coming to California to participate in the gold rush. So you have immigrants coming from Latin America, different parts of Latin America, right, such as Chile, and also Mexico as well, where you have a lot of experienced miners, especially in the area of Chihuahua, coming to California to take advantage of the gold rush. You also have individuals from Europe, such as French miners coming, Australia as well. So you have a large amount of immigrants coming to California because of the gold rush. And this sets off a sentiment of xenophobia amongst the Anglo-Americans who are afraid that all of these foreigners will take all of the gold before they even get a chance to mine it themselves, because you have large amounts of immigrants, right, coming in the thousands coming to California. And many of these immigrants were impoverished people, and the way that they were able to come to California was they were employees of a business owner in their own country who paid these impoverished people to come and work as miners in California to take advantage of the gold rush. And so Anglo-Americans were also afraid that these impoverished people from these other countries would end up staying after the gold rush and becoming part of the population of California. Of course, there's racial prejudice involved in this as well, especially with immigrants that are coming from Latin America. Okay, and so Anglo-Americans were trying to figure out a way to deal with all these foreign immigrants that were participating in the gold rush. And in the state Congress, you have a state senator by the name of Thomas Jefferson Green who comes up with an idea of how to deal with all these foreign miners. And so he basically comes up with this idea for the foreign miners tax. The foreign miners tax basically was a $20 a month tax on all foreign miners. Okay, they all have to pay $20 a month to the state in order to work in the state. Now, Green comes up with this idea because, one, he's trying to raise state revenue, and he figures that the state will make $200,000 a month, and at that time that's a lot of money, off of the foreign miners tax. But not only is he trying to increase state revenue, but he's also trying to give a source of labor to Anglo-Americans, because since this tax is so high, many of these impoverished immigrants cannot pay it, then Americans could pay the foreign miners tax for them and employ them at a fairly cheap rate. And so that was the idea behind the foreign miners tax. But there was actually some resistance to this tax. Many of the foreign miners refused to pay $20 a month. They would be okay with paying lower prices, like maybe $4 or $5 a month, but 20 was just too much. And so you had some resistance to this tax early on, but through force, California sent troops in to enforce the tax. Many of the miners were either forced to pay it, or if they couldn't pay it, they were kicked out of the area of the mines. And so in that way, the foreign miners tax did get rid of some foreign miners from participating in the mining, but it didn't bring in ultimately as much money as Green had expected that it would. Okay, so ultimately the foreign miners tax was a failure because instead of bringing in $2 million a year, it ended up only bringing in around $30,000 a year. Not everybody paid it, and ultimately the tax was repealed because it didn't bring in as much revenue as was expected, and it also caused conflict as many foreign miners resisted paying the tax in the first place.